They are precious in life. That's what drew me in. When Blood Breaks Down tells the stories of 3 patients who arrive at the hospital, each within a day of the others. 3 people, all told to get their affairs in order when a blood test returned drastically wrong. Joan, a 48-year-old surgical nurse and mother. David, a 68-year-old husband, father, and grandfather. And Sarah, a 36-year-old pregnant mother and wife. One randomly thought, 24 hours earlier, that she was catching a bad cold. One, that he was getting older and slowing down. One, that she was exhausted from morning sickness. And each one made decisions that no person should ever have to make. Decisions that affect their lives and the lives of those closest to them. The 3 patients portrayed in this book are actually composites of people I have cared for over the years. The conversations, the medical twists and turns, the aspects of their lives that precede and follow their diagnoses, all really occurred, though not necessarily to or for the persons to whom they are attributed. The discoveries that led to the treatment options for Joan, David, and Sarah, whose names I chose as aliases, as well as the biological basis of their cancers, are remarkable. So too is the research behind the causes of leukemia, how doctors and patients communicate with each other, and how we all handle a person whose death is imminent. Perhaps most remarkable, though, is their undaunted spirit, their utter humanity in the face of a treasonous bone marrow that has turned on them. The chance to have even a glancing relationship with inspiring people like this, that's what really drew me in. MAS. 1. Leukemia arrives by dark of night. I jumped up and shook hands with this man who'd just given me something no one else on earth had ever given me. I may have even thanked him, habit being so strong. Raymond Carver, What the Doctor Said, 1989. Joan Walker was a surgical nurse in Wooster, Ohio, near Amish country, who couldn't understand why she had become so tired every day, almost falling asleep on her feet while assisting doctors in the operating room. It felt like someone stuck a huge syringe into me and sucked out the energy, leaving me more tired than tired. I was a shell of a body, going through the motions of the day, she later told me. Wooster, located about 50 miles south of Cleveland in Wayne County, is typical of the state of Ohio in many ways. It is headquarters to businesses such as Daisy Brand, the maker of sour cream and cottage cheese, and the Wooster Brush Company, which manufactures paintbrushes and rollers. It is also an agricultural center that encourages its young residents to participate in 4-H programs and compete at the Wayne County Fair. As a result, industrial complexes and rural roads leading through bucolic farmland exist in equal measure. The patients Joan cared for reflected this balance, which she loved. Many, including Joan, had never left Wooster. Their families, like hers, had lived in the area for generations and collectively pitched in to help raise the children. At the hospital, she often cared for her friends, and there were few secrets. Perhaps it was years of waking up at 5 a.m. so she could be at the hospital on time for the first surgical case. Or the toll it took on her, being the single mom of 2, a son who barely made it through high school, and a difficult teenage daughter. It wasn't just tiredness. Her gums started to bleed every time she brushed her teeth, and she developed a rash on her legs under the compression stockings surgical nurses wear to combat the swelling that comes with hours of standing in the operating room. When she mentioned these symptoms to the doctor she had worked with for more than a decade, he insisted she have her blood counts checked. Early on a Wednesday morning, after the first surgical case of the day, she went to the hospital's lab. With the technician who drew her blood, she joked about his ability to collect it on the first stick. He succeeded. After she had assisted on the second case of the day, a young man undergoing a hernia repair, the surgeon asked her to come into his office. He had just received a terrifying phone call from the lab.